Should you start a faceless YouTube channel, or is it more realistic to go mask off? In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about starting a faceless YouTube channel, what I think the pros and cons are, and why I decided for the most part to do a channel where I'm on camera and I build a personal brand. You've probably heard a lot about faceless YouTube channels, and there is a ton of benefit to the anonymity that you get from it and the ability to make a truly evergreen and immortal channel that doesn't necessarily go down the hill with age, because it's not tied to a human being who's going to probably grow older, probably not be as relatable if they can see that you're aging out of the demographic. When you have a disembodied voice for the channel or an animated avatar, you're now making intellectual property that can live on forever. The other appeal of this is, frankly, a lot of people are self-conscious about their appearance. I know when I first started making content, I was awkward as hell. I hated the sound of my own voice. Editing the videos was the most troublesome thing in the world and was agonizing because I hated the sound of my own voice, especially the longer I went on with the editing. I've edited over 1,700 videos on this channel. I've actually still been doing my own editing like a lunatic as a larger content creator over the last decade. I don't recommend it. Hire that stuff out. And I will tell you, while it does get easier to put yourself out there and to put your face on camera, in many ways you can get your confidence to convey a lot more if you don't have to get over that hurdle in the first place. And faceless YouTube channels are not some new phenomenon that happened in the last year or so. They're not something that just decided to become popular because of 2025, 2026, 2027. Faceless YouTube channels have been on the platform even since the very beginning, and a lot of them were gaming channels that were doing Let's Play videos, and a lot of them were video essay channels like The Nerd Writer. Some of the most popular YouTube channels today that have a face to them, like Star Wars Theory with millions of subscribers, started out as faceless YouTube channels. Not everyone has the desire to get on camera. Some people prefer their privacy and their anonymity, and those are some of the benefits of starting a faceless channel. Something you may not have considered, though, is that with YouTube rolling out multi-language audio, that it'll actually be easier to dub a faceless channel in multiple languages and distribute it across multiple countries. And as long as you're not using text on the video itself or in the thumbnail, this is something that can easily be localized and consumed around the world and offer more opportunities for views and subscriber growth. So this is an option and an opportunity that didn't exist in the older days of YouTube, but exists today because of AI dubbing tools and the fact that YouTube is going to be introducing auto dubbing and rolling that out over the next couple of months. Definitely, I think within a year, almost every channel, or at least every monetized channel, should have this option, which is one of the reasons I think it's never been a better time to start a faceless YouTube channel if that's what you want to do. There's also not really any evidence that thumbnails with a face in them do better than thumbnails that just use stock imagery or convey a concept, or frankly, if they have a face in them, it uses someone else's intellectual property. It'll use a famous face. An example is the commentary genre of YouTube, where people might talk about other creators or might talk about celebrities and celebrity scandals. Or the true crime genre is another example. It might use a face, but not the face of the creator. It'll use the face of the subject. So there are a lot of approaches to having a faceless channel. In the gaming niche, it's actually better to have the IP of the game in the thumbnail because it's a recognizable property, it's a recognizable franchise, instead of your face when most people don't know who you are. Even a large content creator. Fact is, 50 to 80% of the views don't come from subscribers. They keep growing because new people who don't know who they are keep discovering them. It's not that there are no benefits to having a personal brand and having your face out there. There certainly are, but you could do just as well, sometimes better, being a faceless channel and not having to have the anxiety and stress that comes with that. Some of the largest content creators on YouTube, as well as on Twitch, are VTubers. They use an animated character in order as a stand-in for them in terms of not having a physical person on camera. They're using an animated puppet. They're using an avatar. This is essentially the idea, I think, of, well, what are some of the most popular intellectual properties in the world? They're cartoon characters. Winnie the Pooh, Mickey Mouse, Spider-Man, These are iconic intellectual properties, and they're immortal. They've outlived their creators in many cases, as sad as it is to lose Stan Lee. So if you think about it from that perspective, having an immortal, ageless avatar that is a stand-in, that doesn't have to also be weighed down by things that you have anxiety about or that give you a lack of confidence, things like your own appearance, for example, or the idea of not wanting to put your point of view out there because you don't want to have to own that or have it bleed into your personal life or into your professional life. If you're still a working class creator who has a job, maybe you don't want people to conflate what you're making on the internet with what you're doing at your job or have that reflect on your employer. So there are a lot of reasons that are completely valid to do a faceless channel. In terms of the monetization opportunity, I think that the multi-language audio component of this is the thing that no one's talking about and that people are underestimating. I also think that people are not considering how they might even use faceless content and build it in such a way that it's actually easy to repurpose across other platforms. When I say repurpose, I'm not just talking about, I'm going to convert this to YouTube Shorts. I mean that you can literally publish the same content and syndicate it against other platforms that will pay you and not just YouTube. And I think this is an opportunity that a lot of people aren't thinking about. They're not looking at all these monetization opportunities that exist with Meta, for example, or the fact that now with Spotify for creators, people are going to be able to benefit from uploading video content there. Somebody who has a faceless channel or a VTuber avatar could still use that in podcast format, video podcast or live stream, and then take the replays of that, package it as a podcast, put it up in Spotify, and monetize just like they could in the YouTube Partner Program and be paid for ads and paid for Spotify revenue. I actually have a video about how to get monetized in Spotify as a creator, and I break down all the requirements for the Spotify Partner Program. It's very similar to the YouTube Partner Program, actually. You can check out that video linked in the description. But back to faceless channels and faceless content. I've always believed in being platform agnostic. You could be YouTube first, but then still distribute that content in syndication, especially if it's evergreen content that is going to be just as valuable to a viewer 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, maybe even a year or more from now. If you have that kind of content, especially as a faceless channel, you have a gold mine that can print you money because you can put it on other platforms that will pay you after YouTube. And you shouldn't think about stealing a view from YouTube. A lot of people get really anxious about this idea. If they're viewing it on that platform, they didn't see you on YouTube. They weren't looking for you on YouTube, or you weren't able to attract them on YouTube. It's better to get them somewhere than to fail to get them on YouTube. That is something that is not talked about enough in the creator world. It is better to get attention somewhere than fail to get it in one place. That's why I believe in being platform agnostic. I think that it's valuable to have the same content on YouTube and put it into other platforms. It's why I believe in multi-streaming. I believe this for short form, and I believe it for long form if places like X and Meta are going to pay you for it, or even Spotify. So now there's a lot more opportunity than there ever was when I started as a content creator to actually make money from this. Faceless channels also are not left in the dust when it comes to the ability to get sponsorship and brand deals. While the benefit of somebody's reputation if they are a face and a brand ambassador is valid and can pay, there are ways that this still works with faceless content creators if they're reaching a broad enough market and frankly if they're delivering on the views. So since this is more of a, let's say, influencer entertainer niche in many cases than a thought leader, authoritative education niche, there are exceptions obviously, like faceless history channels, then there's an opportunity for a broad range of brand deals, and you can get long-term contracts. I talk about how to get 6 to 12 month contracts in my brand deals content. And so that's something that you can do. You can have those long-term sponsorships as a faceless content creator, and you might be open to a variety of sponsors that can back your content if you're not a face that's kind of locked in to a more narrow audience, or where you actually have some risk involved if you damage your reputation. It's actually a little harder to damage your reputation or offend people as a faceless channel. Not impossible, but less likely. If the anxiety of being on camera if the anxiety of being judged for doing content creation or the blowback that could have on your professional career is holding you back, you're absolutely the kind of person who should start a faceless YouTube channel. And I think that it can be just as lucrative as anything else. You have an opportunity to have potentially more reach with the multi-language audio and localization, because it won't be as awkward to just substitute your voice for a voice that has your inflections in another language. The CEO of YouTube, Neil Mohan, says that YouTube's auto dubbing for multi-language audio is actually going to keep inflections, emotion, and intent captured in the way that they do it. And so it's gonna be less jarring in another language if you're not trying to lip sync or match the physical attributes of somebody to the voice that you're hearing. So faceless channels have an absolute win when it comes to that. The other benefit besides that added reach is you're avoiding reputational damage most of the time. If you're a faceless channel with an avatar and you don't use your real name and identity, then you actually are protecting your reputation in a lot of ways. And then from a revenue and monetization standpoint, you still have a really good opportunity to make money. You're not inherently paid more to be on camera than not. In fact, also, a faceless channel might more easily be able to delegate and outsource the work behind the content creation of the channel and be able to be more consistent over time, or put more thought into the ideation and focus a lot more on the packaging and a lot less on how they're going to invest in production, cameras, and lights. So from a budgetary standpoint, in many ways, if all you're relying on is a good microphone and maybe some video editing software, you could be using DaVinci or CapCut, so it can be really affordable or free on the editing side. You're mostly focusing on a good microphone. You might have the most affordable version of doing a YouTube channel if you're a faceless creator. So it might be the most accessible way for a small creator to start getting traction. So this might be one of the most affordable ways to approach YouTube if you're a smaller YouTuber, you're low budget, or even if you live in another country. If you do a faceless channel, you have to invest less money up front to get to higher quality content in the first place. So for those reasons, I absolutely think a lot of you should consider starting a faceless channel and not think that just because your favorite YouTuber puts themselves on camera, you just may not be in that place in life, or it may not be affordable or accessible to you where you are. This is a great opportunity, and I think that a lot of you should pursue it. If you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you're someone who actually wants to make money from their content creation, so you definitely want to watch this next video on the most profitable niches in YouTube. Also, if you haven't already, check out my free Creator Foundations course. It is a free course that you can sign up for. It has over 4 hours of content to help you become a better content creator, and a 90-minute monetization masterclass. So stay awesome, and I will catch you in the next video. Mine will have my face in it. Take care.